The headline didn't appear in the New York Times or the Washington Post first. It echoed to the halls of the Kremlin, rippled through the freezing trenches of eastern Ukraine, and finally landed like a sledgehammer on the desks of terrified bureaucrats in Brussels. Trump is not their daddy anymore. It's December 2025. The snow is falling hard across Europe. But the real chill isn't coming from the weather. It's coming from Washington. For 80 years, since the dust settled on World War II, Europe has slept soundly under a warm, expensive blanket of American protection. They built their welfare states, criticized American wars, and enjoyed long vacations, all while the U.S. military stood guard at the gates. But on Friday, December 5th, that blanket was ripped away. President Trump's administration released a new 29-page document that has turned the world order upside down, the 2025 National Security Strategy. It doesn't just pivot away from Europe. It insults them. It calls the old continent tired, overregulated, and facing civilizational erasure. And in Moscow, the champagne corks are popping. The Russian press isn't just reporting the news. They are gloating. They are painting a picture of Europe that is suddenly, terrifyingly, an orphan. The American daddy has packed his bags, cut off the allowance, and left the kids to fend for themselves against a bear in the backyard. Welcome to the new reality. To understand why the Russians are laughing, you have to understand what this document actually says. For decades, U.S. national security strategies have been boring, predictable documents. They always said the same thing. Russia is bad, NATO is good, and we will defend every inch of Allied territory. This time, the script has been flipped. The new strategy, drafted by Trump's inner circle, drops the label of Russia as a direct threat. Instead, it adopts a new philosophy called flexible realism. It argues that the United States has wasted too much blood and treasure trying to prop up a Europe that refuses to save itself. The language is brutal. The White House explicitly states that Europe is suffering from a lack of self-confidence and is at risk of being wiped out by migration and economic stagnation. It essentially tells Germany, France, and the UK, you are dying and we aren't going to die with you. But the kicker, the part that has sent shockwaves through NATO, is the revival of the Monroe Doctrine. The U.S. is signaling that its primary concern is the Western Hemisphere. If Europe wants to fight a war on its eastern border, they are welcome to do so. But the days of the American cavalry riding to the rescue are over. Donald Trump Jr. said it best at a forum in Doha just days ago. We are not going to be the idiot with the checkbook anymore. While panic spread through London and Paris, the mood in Moscow was electric. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov appeared on state TV on Sunday, looking like the cat that got the cream. When asked about the new American strategy, he didn't condemn it. He praised it. The adjustments we are seeing, Peskov said, are largely consistent with our vision. Think about that. The United States releases a security strategy and Russia says, yes, this aligns with our vision. Russian state media has taken this ball and run with it. The editorial columns are filled with a sense of vindication. For years, Putin has argued that Europe is nothing but a vassal of the United States, a continent without sovereignty, doing whatever Washington commands. Now, the Russian narrative has shifted. They are mocking Europe's helplessness. One popular sentiment circulating in Russian analysis is the brutal truth of the daddy metaphor. They view European leaders, Macron, Starmer, Merz, as teenagers who have been kicked out of the house. They are standing on the curb with their luggage, realizing they have no job, no savings, and no idea how to fight. To Russia, this isn't just a policy change. It's a total geopolitical victory. They believe they have successfully outlasted the American will to fight. They believe they have broken the Atlantic Alliance without firing a missile at Berlin or London. They just had to wait for America to get tired of paying the bills. Across the English Channel, the reality is setting in, and it is grim. This morning, a desperate meeting is taking place in London. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has flown in to meet with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, French President Emmanuel Macron, and the new German Chancellor Friedrich Merz. The atmosphere is funereal. They are staring at a map of Ukraine and then at their own stockpiles of ammunition. The math doesn't add up. Without the massive logistical backbone of the United States, Europe simply cannot sustain a high-intensity war against the Russian war machine. The peace talks in Florida have stalled. Trump's envoys are pushing a deal that would freeze the conflict, likely leaving Russia with the territory it currently holds. Zelensky knows that without American backing, he has zero leverage. He is looking at his European allies, begging for security guarantees. If I sign this deal, will you protect us when Russia attacks again? And the terrifying answer written on the faces of the European leaders is, we can't even protect ourselves. The new U.S. strategy has exposed Europe's nakedness. They spend decades cutting defense budgets to pay for social programs, assuming daddy, America would always be there with the aircraft carriers and the nuclear umbrella. Now, that umbrella is folded shut. The harsh winter of 2025 is exposing a continent that is economically fragile and militarily hollow. So, where does this leave us as we head into 2026? We are witnessing the end of an era. The post-World War II order, the NATO alliance as we knew it, is effectively dead. It hasn't been dissolved by a treaty, but has been gutted by reality. The Russian paper's headline is cruel, but it is accurate. Trump is not their daddy anymore. Europe is now an orphan in a very dangerous neighborhood. They have a choice. They can either unite, militarize, and become a superpower in their own right, a process that will take painful years and trillions of dollars, or they can accept a new reality where Russia dictates the rules of the road in the East. The United States has chosen flexible realism. It has chosen to look inward, to secure its own borders and its own hemisphere. For Americans, this might feel like a relief, an end to endless foreign entanglements. But for Europe, the long vacation is over. The lights are going out, the heating bill is due, and for the first time in 80 years, they are home alone. This is Battlefield Arc History, is being written right now. Don't forget to like and subscribe to see what happens next.